Welcome to the Bialek Group Report. Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, a town with a population of only 107 people, has had an enormous impact on the global economy and political structure. And to understand why, we have to go back to July of 1944. In 1944, the U.S. and the Allies were winning the war. And to prepare for that victory over the Axis powers, 44 of the Allies met in Bretton Woods in July of 1944. There was expectations that the U.S. would seek to become an American empire modeled after the British Empire. But to the surprise of everyone, that did not take place. Instead, the U.S. made three very important changes. One, they opened up the U.S. market to the rest of the world for trade. That gave the world a market to sell to help develop their economies. Second, the U.S. would provide the U.S. Navy to make trade safe. The seas would be safe for trade. And third, international organizations like the International Monetary Fund were started. And that really gave the impetus, the catalyst for about 50 years of globalism and growth based on this model. And the reason for that was these things were offered up to the rest of the world in exchange for joining the U.S. against the Soviet Union in fighting the Cold War. Now that all began to change in 1992 when the Soviet Union had dissolved. And over the past 30 years, we've seen a movement away from that and a rise in populism. And today you're seeing it very evidently here in the U.S. with the Trump administration, his second administration. Now Trump isn't the creation of this, rather he's recognizing this trend. And what you'll see now, I'll talk to two things that are going on. One is military. The U.S. is seeking to have NATO members contribute more, 2% of GDP going up to 5%. And the other has to deal with tariffs. Trump has announced reciprocal tariffs. If a country is charging the U.S. a tariff, an equal amount will be placed on that country. Also taking into account non-financial barriers that limit the export of American goods into that country. Now, I think you have to separate how China is going to be treated versus the rest of the world. And these reciprocal tariffs are going to take a number of months to assess, and they may never get executed. What does this mean for Africa? I don't think the military or tariffs really are going to have a major impact on Africa, but African nations can take advantage of this new disruption and change in international trade. But to do that, they're going to need to advance their economies and do more to develop value-added services and industries, going beyond commodities like cocoa or oil, and finding services and products where there's, again, a value-added service that's being developed by an African company. And I think African Fintech has a big role to play in this. So that's a little history lesson today. I've been to Bretton Woods. It's a beautiful little town in a beautiful state of New Hampshire. Really great to see during the fall. But today, I want to thank you for joining me on this call, and please stay tuned to the Bialek Group Report. Give us a like, give us a follow. We're glad to have you with us. Thanks.